The second New Deal. So you might be thinking, why on earth did Roosevelt have to do a second New Deal? Well, his first New Deal, to be quite honest, had worked pretty well. But the problem was, as we know, the Republican Party, remember he's a Democrat though, but the Republicans do not like any government intervention. And they claimed that the New Deal was interfering in all of the different state laws. So they were really concerned that what was happening is central government was interfering in state law when really they shouldn't be doing that. So things started to go a little bit wrong for Roosevelt, unfortunately, because they started to declare his New Deal illegal. Because they said, in America, if something happens in a state, so say in New York should sort that out. It shouldn't be up to the government, federal law, to sort out the problem there. So what happens in New York should stay in New York. So his first deal got declared illegal because 4 Jewish brothers sold a batch of diseased chickens in New York. And because they did that, they'd broken the NRA codes. So they'd broken one of those codes that Roosevelt had said you had to follow if you were an industry. So Roosevelt and the government got involved in that, but really it should have been New York sorting that out. So they said the New Deal was breaking the American Constitution. Federal law should not interfere in state law. So what happened was his New Deal got declared illegal, and Roosevelt must have literally been tearing his hair out. He put so much work into this New Deal, and now they're starting to declare alphabet agencies illegal. So he did 3 things in his second New Deal. The first thing he did to get round all of these problems was the Wagner Act. And what that is instead of having the NRA anymore, the Wagner Act allowed people to have trade unions. So they were allowed to form trade unions, so if they weren't happy with working conditions, they could go on strike, they had workers' rights, all of those things. So people still had the rights that they should have in terms of where they went to work. And that worked well. A lot of people became part of trade unions, but people obviously like Henry Ford, the car maker, absolutely hated these things because if people went on strike, he lost some production time. He also didn't like that he was having to give a certain amount of wages per day. Even though he'd always given fair wages before, those things needed to be increased. So Roosevelt wasn't bothered about what they had to say about it. That was something he thought should be in place. Another thing that he did was instead of the Agricultural Adjustment Act for farmers, he introduced the Soil Conservation Act. And that is simply, he paid the farmers because he was telling them that they had to conserve the soil, and that's what they had to get on with. And that's exactly what they did. So they were getting government money from him, which really helped. He continued as well to loan the money to help to stay on the farms. So it's a bit like a mortgage subsidy, if you like. He started to do that as well to help the farmers. But the most important thing in the second New Deal, and if you run out of time in the exam, this is the thing you've got to make sure you mention about the second New Deal. It was the Social Security Act. This act is so successful, it's still used in America today, nearly 100 years on. So what he does, he puts something in place for the people who are unemployed, like the disabled. So there's sick pay for the disabled, there's genuine sick pay for people who might have been really ill from something like cancer, so they obviously get wages so they can stay in the homes. And something else that's significant is he starts off pensions. So people get pensions between $10 and $80, but this is the first time there's actually been a social security system set up in America. Before that, during the Depression and things, there was no dole. So if something went wrong, that's what happened. They just had to live on the streets. Where now they were actually going to get government intervention and state help so that that wouldn't be the situation for any of these people again. And that thing still lasts today.